and truth. Because to UBC, your story, every story, and every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
The government's mandate is to maintain law and order, safeguard citizens' rights, and provide essential public services.
Remember, one of the pillars of a roadmap is innovation and entrepreneurship.
There has been this question of how are you protecting our indigenous seed?
It's going to be a tall project that answers somebody's question.
For the past 20 weeks, the front bench has brought you insightful discussions on governance, security, healthcare, justice, and commerce.
When you go through this complicated procedure, involve the lawyers, you bring the case against him, the judge will hear you out and pass judgment, and you're out of court in record time.
We remain committed to keeping you informed and engaged on key national matters.
So these are huge, these are powerful organizations which now Uganda chairs. Why don't you come together?
If we haven't migrated to the e-card because of various reasons, including that not all the people of Uganda have smartphones.
You can sit in your house, apply for a passport.
If you have a Ugandan who has a successful logistics firm in the US, it means he can come to Uganda and do a lot more.
Now airing every Monday at 8:30 p.m. with me, Jethro Kasaiji, your interface with the government only on your public broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Every Wednesday, live in our studio.
In this country, really. Who has bewitched Ugandans?
I want to assure you, as government, we shall do whatever it takes to ensure that Ugandans are safe.
We have conversations that have analysis, explanation.
This law society, this union of theirs, because they want a job everywhere, they want to be this, they want to be that, they want... No. We know it's a union.
You cannot be making a road, bitumen grade 1, in Congo for 5 billion.
But not every truth is...
For peace and stability is without basis, either in law or in fact.
We have been told how Napoleon was a great orator. Now, Napoleon cannot help me get food. They told me combine harvest in Saskatchewan. I don't know where Saskatchewan is. This is a geographer we taught. Instead of teaching me how to preserve Mabera forest, they're teaching me about Rhineland. This is a problem we got. We cannot run away from it.
Right now, you hear very disgusting stories of members of parliament. Instead of discussing the details of loans, they ask for their cuts.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
Public broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Juko. Yo. Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Haven't you heard of the parish development model, PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sebatia. It is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving.
Juko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better.
PDM, my parish, my development, my life. Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo,
you can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks gigs. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000. Or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21 hash and select daily or use the MyMTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
I'm Kisame Andrew, cold chain technician attached to Kalio District Local Government in the health department. The vaccines come when they're in the truck, which is refrigerated from NMS. I receive them, so I load these vaccines. There are some cold boxes I put in those containers, then I take to the facilities. Even in the facilities, there are fridges. We are so grateful to the government of Uganda because each and every health center 3 and 4 in the Kalio district has a refrigerator. Once they reach there, I offload them. I also put them in the fridges. These facilities have scheduled outreaches whereby they have to go to the community, to the villages, communities, and make sure that they vaccinate. So they also have small containers which are called vaccine carriers, which they put on their back, of course with some ice to maintain the temperature. So that when they mobilize, the community mobilizers, the VHTs, the LOC ones do mobilize the communities in gazetted outreaches which are already gazetted. They come and also workers find the clients there and then they do vaccinate them.
In all these years, we emphasize 2 words, wealth and jobs. And we try to waken our people up to show them where wealth and jobs come from.
The Parish Development Model, PDM, is a bold initiative that is reshaping Uganda's rural economy. By allocating 100 million shillings to each parish annually, PDM empowers households by unlocking opportunities for wealth creation.
This program will be maintained. Each year we send 100 million for the parish. If you get the 1 million, you can buy some goats, you can buy some pigs, you can buy even young cows.
Farmers are transitioning from subsistence farming to commercial agriculture, laying the groundwork for wealth creation and improved livelihoods.
This project started 11 years ago after an inspiration from His Excellency. And that time I was working as a taxi driver. I was doing that Massa business in Soroti, and he was talking about how to improve household income.
With the PDM, you bring back the money after 24 months. But in the 3rd year, you would get another 100 million paid back by those who got first.
The President's message is a mindset changer. Becoming rich does not mean you should have a lot of land, you should have a lot of education, you just need a vision and implement and start from where you are.
So therefore, this PDM is to get all of you out of poverty. That's why we said 100 million per parish per year.
This message is brought to you by the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Well, good morning, Uganda. Thank you so much for being on the show. But also, in case you are just joining in, you're welcome. This is Good Morning Uganda, and you are watching UBC TV, always here to inspire you. My name is Julie Nantaba Mosisi. It's time for the agenda, a topic that we engage in with an expert, one who has all the plethora of wisdom to speak into it. Now, this is a place, first and foremost, where we engage in topics that shape our country and our continent. And today is not any different. We dive and spotlight a topic that is close to everyone's heart, every individual's heart, as well as every culture and every nation. And that is the topic on peace and unity. Now here as UBC TV, as we look forward to the 2026 general elections as a country, at UBC, what we emphasize is peace. Peace, peace, peace all the way. We preach peace and we continue to inspire you, but through actions that lead you into engaging into whatever you do in peace and with peace. Now, today in particular, we are looking at peace and unity and the bedrock of Africa's transformation being peace and unity. And in studio with us is a usual suspect, one that is not new to the studios of UBC TV, but one who has all the authority to speak into this particular conversation. And that is Mr. Milton Kambura, who is a global peace ambassador, but also the president of the president of the Ugandan chapter, and that is of the Global Peace Foundation. Here with us in studio today. Good morning, Mr. Kambura.
Good morning, my sister. Thank you for inviting me again. And your viewers, God bless you. And we are going to learn today. This is peace, peace, peace.
As always, as always. Last we were together on set here was on the 13th of March during the by-election of Kawempe, and you spoke so profoundly towards the direction of peace.
Yes.
And your message was taken in. But today, we're looking at peace and unity, it being the bedrock of Africa's transformation. And let's start from just the simplicity of what peace and unity means to you as a person.
Basically, peace is the environment that all of us must create. That enabling environment that brings a secure environment for business to flourish, where violence is not there, where there is love, where there is forgiveness, where there is dialogue, and regardless of any situation, you are able to actually tolerate and harness the spiritual power and wisdom.
Tolerate is a very powerful word that you use there.
Yes.
Recently, I was reading a book. It's titled, Is Africa Cursed? That's the title of the book.
Okay.
And some of the content it had in there, I'm still reading it, and I'll be sharing more of my findings from the book. But some of the things that the book authors, it talks about the problems that Africa faces. One, the hunger issue, poverty issue, and peace being a war zone area.
Yes.
Common to, there's a lot of prevalence in war and everything in regards to war in Africa. And with that background of Africa, help define peace and unity, but in Africa's context, with what Africa is known for and what it is like, really.
I must say that quite often people think at the end of guns shouting on our heads that now that's peace. The holistic peace I'm talking about, that I represent, is the lack of that social harmony where people can interact, where people can share, where people can celebrate their humanity as one family under God. So I must say that holistically, it is also that situation where people are also economically empowered, where ideologically aligned to a clear vision of one family under God, where we can recognize each other that we are a one family, and we also appreciate and celebrate the understanding that all men are created equal as endowed by God.
Right.
That is the America's experiment, although today it is also being challenged by the threats to do with the context on family, but it's that understanding, it is that wisdom that people need to appreciate, that even if you are hungry, you can share even that small food on the table with your neighbor who's also equally hungry. That understanding of appreciation of a higher transcending vision that together we can win. Right. Together we can live together. We can actually win battles of poverty, of hunger.
Right.
Yes, not pulling each other down.
And while you were talking about that, you mentioned the pertinent idea of ideological unity,
Yes.
where we all have the same ideological ideas. Not so sure how possible that can be in Africa, but how do you think ethnic or religious or political ideologies impact the continent's idea of peace and unity?
I must tell the viewers today, as I address the country, that I have now known and I have discovered that it is not because Africa lacks resources, that Africa lacks capital, that Africa lacks the technology, that is the reason why we cannot move and become what other countries are. It's the reason and the lack of social cohesion, guided by a higher transcending vision that I've talked about of one family under God, the lack of the understanding that tribes were created by God, but they were not created to actually make us fight one another like in Africa. The religions that we have in Africa, we are not created to divide us, but rather to become vehicles to unite us towards that vision, that we can look into each other's eyes and say, you are my brother, you are my sister.
What do you think we can pick, still staying on the issue of religion, ethnicity, you know, political ideas? We see that countries in the West are united anyways, or they have they might not be completely united, but they have a better picture to offer than we do in regards to that particular issue. So what do you think, what leaf do you think we could pick from them and apply to Africa's context as we realize peace and unity for transformation?
What we can pick is not just to pick from them because we have the best experiment. 600 years ago, Africa knew these concepts. Africa's civilization gave birth to the Greeks to understand how to shape their culture. Africa is the mother of all these great things. But after we were broken down by colonialism, they made sure we hate ourselves. They weakened our education, where children would learn from their fathers and mothers on how to relate with environment, with culture, with values of Ubuntu, of living for greater good, for living for greater Africa. We were actually divided. It was a new curriculum that for the last 400 years, nobody's trying to stand up and kind of reboot Africa back to its foundation. So that's why I do not usually believe to just say, let us learn from others. No, let's learn from the experiment that built Africa to be able to become the donor of the world. We are giving donations to the rest of the world without asking interest on the loans that we are giving the world.
Right.
We had to build the foundation of the religions we actually cherish today. We knew, for example, resurrection would be there before the formation of Christianity. So pyramids are the things of the amazing wonders of the world. Who were these? Our great ancestors knew that the unity provided power to build a stronger economy. Africa had never been a beggar like today. Leadership was shaped from here, where centralized governments and kingdoms and the parliaments, they found us having all these instruments. What was wrong was to give up that wealth to the colonial masters and not allowing religions to sit on the culture that already had been built. So that's why this discussion, your viewers, my parents and fathers and uncles and grandparents and brothers and sisters, we got to go back to the foundation. That today we got to say no and never tolerate any politics that divide us. That is number one. Constitutions that are built in Africa are really built to defend interests of tribes, not to defend interests and cultures of the culture of Africa, of unity, of Ubuntu. You know, the constitution of Uganda, for example, is and the division is all about ballooning and cutting down districts. They want a district. This tribe want a district. So you are trying to tell us that now we go back to the divisions that have made us be disunited, and when we are disunited, we cannot think together to build strong companies like Toyota in Japan. You understand what I'm saying? Right. I'm talking about the unity is the base for peace, is the base and catalyst for economic transformation. Right. So that's why on this show, I will encourage Ugandans, all of you Ugandans, that haven't we learned enough that our disunity, our pulling each other down, doesn't even help us? It does not help you and me. Right. Rather to unite now all religions, all tribes, all political parties, to now base on the agenda of uniting Ugandan. That's where the vision, that's where your power to vote should come from. Any political party that is now dividing, you don't vote those people. Religious leaders who are saying, I'm the best, my God is the best. How are you sure the Bible talks? The Bible doesn't talk about these things, my sister. There is no Catholicism, there is no Protestantism, there is no SCDA. They are talking about God. God, the creator of you and me. So religions are not the pathway to heaven. No. It's all your deeds, the values. Have you loved your brother? Right. Have you helped the weak? Have you donated and lifted those children on the streets to become champions and realize their dreams?
Yes, indeed. In case you have just joined, we are with Mr. Milton Kambura. He is a Global Peace Ambassador, and he is the president of the Ugandan chapter of the Global Peace Foundation. And what we're talking about really is peace and unity being the bedrock of Africa's transformation. Let's stay a bit with the history, yes, and please. You painted a picture of how we actually taught the Western countries if we knew our history. And what I'm picking from there yes. is how I wish we knew our history. I wonder if we know our history, because these are things we are not so taught in school. But let's still stick to the history. How have historical events painted conflicts yes. out of what is happening to Africa today? How have historical conflicts just resurrected or encouraged disunity and more conflict in Africa?
I'm going to give you the African experiment about, for example, the politics. How politics has become a catalyst of divisions. I will give you just a random one based on Africa's experiment. One, we have a country called Togo. Togo is a country in the western part of Africa. Now, I will use your presidents and show you how tribalism, for example, has not allowed African presidents to sit, good presidents to sit and transform Africa and unite Africa. There was a man called His Excellency Olympio. Olympio was a great president, and Olympio was removed and later killed by Nasimbe, who claimed to the Togolese that this is not a man of our tribe. He used tribalism to actually remove this president, whom the Togolese thought would transform the country in a span of 5 years. But the biggest tribe united against this president, and Togo lost a son whose vision was focusing on a transcending vision of uniting these tribes. You see the impact of tribalism. There was a man in Burkina Faso, Sankara, whom we know. Right. But because of tribalism, Kampori, who used and traded on tribe, had to actually be used by foreign powers to assassinate this president, whose vision was alike with what I'm talking about. Unite Africa, peace for Africa. So the foreigners, the foreign countries usually look for a loophole. A divided house is easy to actually burn. So the father and the mother are fighting and the children are just shouting, hey, bamuta, bamuta. Then it is easy for an enemy to actually use the back door and come and burn or steal the gold in the house.
You use the example of Burkina Faso.
Yes.
And right now, Burkina Faso is one country that has a lot of attention because of its interim president, and that is Ibrahim Traore.
Yes.
Now, his presidency so far has focused on national unity and resistance against perceived foreign exploitation. And he has also distanced Burkina Faso from
the French.
From the French,
Yes.
very true, who are the colonial powers. But also his administration has emphasized economic self-sufficiency, especially in areas of agriculture and mining. As a global peace ambassador, what do you think of his presidency in relation to peace?
You know, we are threatened by the African, anybody who wish to bring good things on the table. Because Africa continues to become the center for raw materials to the global north. So they must find a way of keeping Africa in turmoil, in division. So they must use all ways that when a talented young lady like you, beautiful as you are, whose vision is looking at uniting Africa, transforming Africa, so that Africa can stop exporting raw materials, that then that unit can help the Muchiga and the Uganda build a company like Toyota or Mercedes-Benz and using the raw materials. Then they say, oh my God, they are going to unite. They are going to unite. I think we must keep them divided and fight each other. As they continue fighting, we must continue milking the continent. We cannot allow them to study chemistry in their local language. And so they will not be able to make their own medicine. And then it will make sure that we flourish our pharmaceutical industries. That is the conflict economy. Conflict economy is a huge economy to the extent that you cannot see each other on the face and value each other and see how we put talents on the table to transform the country. So Traore, Ibrahim Traore's experiment also shows us and reminds us that Africans wake up. Africans wake up. Nobody will love you. Created you, gave you the gold and the diamonds that are in your sitting room. But what's very important, first love peace. Love peace. And tolerate each other, love each other, forgive one another. Then that peace that you have created will silence the guns and nuclear bombs you want to introduce on the continent. And so the only power we have is peace. And so when we have peace amongst ourselves, then we can talk about the future of Africa.
Right.
And then we can craft a curriculum that is in your language to teach your children to make medicine using the herbs that are in your compounds. And so
Sticking to
yes,
education, indeed.
Yes, please.
What role do you think education, in depth, what role do you think education is playing or not playing in regards to promoting peace and unity for Africa?
We must understand that leadership is critical. Leadership, Africa needs a new type of leadership that focuses on building the Africa we want. That is number one. But then the question you're asking me are the core pillars of achieving the peace that we want and the unity. What are we studying? We are simply studying things that demonize Africa. Are you getting the point? If I came to this studio putting on a back cloth, many of you would say I am a witch doctor. Many of you understand that during COVID, you are aware that COVIDX, that Professor Ogang made using the herbs, was neutralized, and the government had to fight him. Police almost arrested him. The university, African University, had to say, no, it's not part of us. We have kicked him out of the panel of professors in the country. What was this? Until the president intervened and called him to State House. The type of education has demonized that your tribes and what belongs to us, our land is cursed. Our color is cursed. And so we have that inferiority complex in education. And so you are studying chemistry or physics or to become a doctor, but you are only studying that when you are sick, take a Panadol, but they are not teaching you what is in the Panadol, and that Panadol can be manufactured, made using your local available resources. That is the center of my contention on this matter. And so Global Peace Foundation is trying to give you a transcending vision that you can have peace wherever you are and use your locally available resources and your talents to actually walk in the dream of God. That is the point I'm talking about.
Right.
So we need people to wake up. Wake up, Africa, because the rest of the world is looking at Africa as the as the influencer. And the foundation upon the next generation will depend. The rest of the world, its population is going down. Do you know what it means? Cultural dimensions are going down. And do you know what it means? Africa continues suffering. But enough is enough. That must stop. It must stop based on you listening to me right now. You can make it. First, tell yourself and the people around you, you can make it. Talk about this, you can make it. And we are the richest people because we are in the garden. We are in the garden, a garden of Eden, where God's first creation of man was. Africa is the first place where God's creation was demonstrated. And so we have, and we represent the big God and the most sweetest blessing of God. Look at our culture. Rich culture. Living for greater good. Ubuntu.
Right.
Forgiveness. Africans do not have nuclear bombs. We don't want to go there. No, we still think that we can live together in peace. We can share the little we have. And we have not tolerated these things that you call, you know those things, right? We said no to them. Why did we say no to them? They are not part of us. Even though we are poor, they say we are poor, but we are rich. Because we have the natural resources. But we need an awakening. Wake up, Africa. You can become a billionaire. You do not need America, Europe, or Japan, or China, or Russia. We can make it, but we don't need to trade in guns. We need to trade in cultural dimension of making us united. Are you a religious leader? Stop that nonsense of preaching hatred, of dividing Ugandans and Africans. Start preaching that we are one family under God. Go to the mosque if you're a Christian. You will find very transcending vision in Islam. Because Islam teaches about peace. Do not hate the Muslims. No, do not hate them. These are children of God. Are you a Muslim leader? Preach about peace. Preach good things about Christianity. If it is possible, Bishop, go to the mosque and teach about God and the vision of one family under God. Bishop, go to the mosque and preach to them, to the Muslims. Why not? They can also open businesses. They can have tree planting activities together. And then the people will learn and say, oh, the bishop and the sheikh are in Islam cleaning together. Oh my God, so we are one. We can build the nation together.
Right. If you are just joining in, passionately stated indeed, that is Mr. Milton Kambura. He is the Global Peace Ambassador and the president of the Ugandan chapter of the Global Peace Foundation. Today we are talking peace and unity being the bedrock of Africa's transformation. And so far what I am learning is for us as Africans to take back what was taken away from us, and really as the champions of peace, but also embracing our culture and who we are originally. Now, 0709602592 is this WhatsApp number to which you can engage and ask your question or contribute to the conversation. Bonjour, my name is Akampumuza Innocent, a student at Bishop Cipriano Chihanjire SS. My question is, what role can visionary leadership play in driving African transformation? Merci. Thank you, Akampumuza.
Merci.
Yes, indeed. His question is, what role can visionary leadership play in driving African transformation?
Visionary leaders see the end from the beginning. You must start looking at the new type of leaders that Africa need. They must see 400 years from now. Actually, when I hear Vision 2040, new vision is just today. We no longer need visions of just 2 years. No, we got to have intergenerational, long-range vision. And so you are having around 20 generations working towards that long target outcome and impact. What I'm talking about is many people have visions to just survive for a day. Farmers in Uganda, 63% of the population are farmers. But they are not contributing more than, they don't go beyond 25% of our GDP. So what are they doing? Look at the politicians. Politics is now a big business that is milking Ugandans. A lot of money is going there. The type of leadership has turned the Ugandans and Africans into slaves in their own rich, blessed continent. That must stop. That must stop. So visionary leaders must see 400 years from now, and not all leaders will have that capacity. President Museveni at 16 was able to see 2025, but he's a generational leader. And you cannot have blessings to overstretch. No, that's why they say every generation will have its own contexts. And that context will shape its own type of leaders. The type of Museveni were that was their time. Revolutionary in terms of guns. We have to go to the bush and fight. But after capturing power, after 40 years, a new generation must appreciate that we need a new vision stretching 400 years from now to be able to reboot and repurpose Africa to become the superpower of the world, economically, spiritually, socially. If it means, why not, even in the security aspect and technology? Because we got everything. Everything that you have in your sitting room today, Africa. Raw materials that made all those things came from Africa. Do you know the game plan? Is a leader who can say, okay, 600 years backward, Africa has been just a center of conflict. Why conflict? Imported conflict, intended conflict, planned conflict, designed conflict. And because of that, what comes out from politics is poverty. Because companies will not work, schools will not work. So, like in DRC right now, there is not even voting, even if there was election in Eastern Congo. No elections will be there. No, will be no democracy. Human rights are abused. So to stop, to say no, to end to what has been happening 600 years ago, we must have the leadership, therefore, that unites the people. Because 600 years from now, 600 years behind us, has been defined by tribalism, nepotism, religious intolerance, political battles. That all these shape, therefore, what the president must do. Oh, I must give them what they want so that I remain in power. That's what has been happening. MPs also trade on the same, by bribing the voters and going to the other tribe. Please, I will also give you your kingdom, your religion, you know. So worship centers become centers for politics, because the religious leader also must know he needs the money from a politician to build a church. So it becomes a cancer. And that cancer, to be removed, we need visionary leaders who do not just come promising us things, roads, you know, only. No, we need a leader whose first statement is to provide unity. Unity. We have everything. We have everything. Do not all tell us that you're going to turn Africa like America. No, we are above America. So we need a type of leadership that is saying, okay, can I have a conference of all kingdoms? Because they influence mindsets and behaviors of people. Then you give them a vision and say, from today onwards, your royal highnesses and clan leaders, please, regardless of the different tribes and kingdoms, can we follow the vision of one family under God? Go back to your tribes and people and unite them. From South Africa to Egypt. From Kenya, Nairobi, Kisumu to Abuja, West Africa.
Right. Mr. Milton, let me pose this question to you. What role do you think young people and women play in Africa to promote peace and unity as a bedrock for Africa's transformation?
Young people are ready. Young people, I salute you in the name of God. God loves you. Our generation is beautiful. Is blessed with the power of technology of internet. And we have amazing land that is blessed, good fertile soils that can actually make everything possible to end food insecurity. Look at our culture. We need to resurrect our culture. So young people, let us stop lamenting and fighting each other because ours is different. We must show to our elders that it is possible to take Africa to its founding values. One, love one another, forgive one another. The power of Ubuntu. Ubuntu means humanity. That you do, if you want to be treated like this, you equally must treat your colleagues like that. You are because of me. I am because of you. So what the hell is going on where I see young people are also singing politics of tribalism? That's nonsense. Our parents failed on that formula. They failed. Uganda is still stuck because of that formula. The president is finding it hard. He's always talking about unity. But young people, when it comes to unity with this political year, 2025, 2026, do not be used as weapons of political violence because you want to end your tribesmen to win an election. That is stupidity. Look for an MP or a president who's talking about unity because unity is the bedrock for peace, and peace is the foundation and catalyst for economic transformation. There will be no business that can flourish in a country whose people are fighting one another. So it means when that is happening, the government will have no money to construct roads, to build schools, to build the energy that we need, to build the security mechanism we need. So young people, because you are the majority, 73% of the Uganda's population, it means you can force, deliberately force, intentionally influence the future of the country by making sure you resist any temptation to divide you as young people. What must unite you is to discover that unity is power. So is here Muchori, is here Mukaramoja, is here Mukonjo, is here Muganda or Musoga. Unite, because each person brings different talents and gifts on the table. And that will make you now open a company, like a BMW company. But this time it will become Uganda company, Young African Renaissance company. Then in 5 years, you will have a company making cars, making pens, making toothpicks, making clothes. You will work as a group, as citizens of Uganda, going to the ground, encouraging farmers to plant cotton, and they make the clothes we need. All these clothes are from China. Even underwears are China, or roads construction, China. Oh my God, Africa is on sale. That is what it means. Even the integration of Africa will be meaningless if the people to people are not talking, are not trading together, are not in sports together, are not building families together.
Allow me interject. You've talked about indeed and emphasized how the youth can be a part of this great cause. And indeed, like you've stated, that the youth being the majority in Uganda, 73 to 75% of Uganda's population is the youth, many are faced with unemployment. Many are not financially empowered. And yet many want the change, but do not know how to engage. So speaking to how best a youth watching right now can be empowered to start the journey for peace and advocating for peace and acting for peace, putting it into action with whatever they have available.
Oh my God.
Because many times they are influenced by people who come with more money, and these people need to survive. These people need to feed. Bills have to be paid. So whoever gives them the money is who they'll go with, and yet the narrative needs to be changed. So how can a youth change the narrative for their nation?
Oh my God. God help me to make it. so that young people can understand the statement I want to make. Young people, nobody should cheat you or lie you that there is a word called unemployment. There is no word as such unemployment in Africa. What is lacking here is a lack of positive mindset and attitude to fix things. Are we lacking food? That is employment. Go in the village and use your father's land or buy land somewhere and plant food, sell it, and become a billionaire right away this year. It is possible, my brother, my sister. It is possible. Someone is playing on our psychic to make sure that we are lazy and we complain and beg while we are seated on the most precious resources of God in the world. What is happening is Uganda lacking peace and security? Yes. Go for training and open a security company. Yes. Do you think Uganda needs clothes? Yes. Let's go and plant cotton and start manufacturing our own clothes and put up a factory. Another point, do we produce a lot of mangoes that get spoiled in the village? Yes! Now, what does it mean? Let's go to industrial area and buy that small equipment and collect all the mangoes in the village, which is cheap, and manufacture juice. Juice, and you sell in the cities and people become healthy. Are people sick? Yes, people get sick. Are we having mululuza? You can open a company that is herbal-based and turn mululuza into medicine that people can take and they chew and they heal and they become okay. What next? Do we have potholes? Kampala people are swimming in the swimming pools of potholes. Can't you partner with your colleagues, the children of the rich and the poor, and come up with a budget and a framework paper and a concept and a proposal and give it to the government, and the government adds on your resources and hire you to fix the potholes in your own universities, schools, and the cities and the villages? What is happening right now is somebody out there wants to think that we are lazy and stupid and idiots.
There's the issue of corruption. I've placed my proposals, I've done it all, and somewhat the system chokes me due to corruption.
We need to take a quick shift. We need a paradigm shift, even on governance of the country, in terms of starting to appreciate that contracts should first be given to Ugandans. How can I be in a Makerere University and the little roads that are in the university are also contracted to the Chinese? How? When we have the department of engineering, of students who want to practice their engineering education on their own problems.
So in other words, it's also up to the government to change its
Government needs to uplift the boo-boo policy and say no to the end and say 70% of products in our supermarkets, in our markets, are Ugandan locally manufactured and from our locally available materials. That will immediately and subsequently end youth unemployment and put in touch and in use our natural resources to feed and close the gap of poverty and disease and ignorance in the country. The problem is ignorance. My people are perishing because they are lacking a vision. We must start looking at Uganda 400 years from now, and we take first step at a time, one step at a time. The first step is you and me to first change our mindset and say, to hell with this poverty mindset, disease mindset. And so we have have a paradigm shift that regardless whether you come from a poor family or what, no, that must end. It should be you to end that legacy. Your legacy that you represent is that of richness, a billionaire, a peaceful person.
Right.
Yes.
Now, let me read a few of your comments. This is Mokisa who says, thank you for presenting. My question is, how are we going to unite? Yet most people in power, give chance to those who are of their tribes.
We must make sure that we have a new ministry that looks at holistic employment of Ugandans. Ministry of Health. all tribes, there must be someone who is actually digitalizing the matrix. All tribes must be represented. That is number one. Companies. We have companies here from the CEO up to the cleaner, it's one tribe. That nonsense must stop. There should be leadership that is operating and scanning the whole country. How are the Bachiga represented? How are the Banyankole represented? All tribes are equally talented, blessed by God. There is no one day where God created one tribe to be cursed and another one blessed. No, that's stupidity. All tribes around the globe, all the people around the globe are blessed. And so the type of leadership must be anchored on deepening the following. One, shared values. Shared values. I don't mind using the whole budget of Uganda because the whole nonsense where they have been pumping money, they steal it. Let us first retrigger, reboot, reimagine the mindset of Ugandans to see a great future. And they see the disaster on corruption. And they see there is they must get when they are united with everybody. Values, shared values, must be the center and priority in curriculums, in religions, in kingdoms, in ministries. Anybody who does not think like the way I'm talking must be fired from the ministry immediately, get out. Right. Because it is a 5-year term, and so we must make sure we deliver on our mandate. So one thing is to integrate shared values. What are these shared values? Ugandans are talking about mindset change. We pump 1 trillion Uganda shillings in PDM. But much of it is just going to people's stomachs and what, you know. No, get the money, put elders to speak this language, kings on the radios, and the top bishops and the sheikhs, and the parents must have conferences in every village to reorganize their homes and nurture children of the future of the country. In 10 years, you will have a new Uganda.
Right. As we start to bring this to a close from this conversation, what I've picked is, especially as we look forward to the general 2026 elections, is as you participate as a Ugandan in these elections, do not focus on your tribe or your religion. Rather, focus on Africa in particular. Focus on Africa as you participate in every single exercise of the general 2026 elections, because it will trickle down to your country, to your tribe, to your religion, to your individual status. Mr. Kambura, in your vision, what does a peaceful and united Africa look like?
Wow, wow. The United, the AU, African Union, 2063 vision is looking at a transformed, united, and integrated population. And so the Africa we are talking about at African Union level, because even Ugandans don't connect to these narratives, because these institutions are also have been built to be there as institutions. No, they must not be just institutions. They must be in our bedrooms. Their visions must be in our sitting rooms. We must be walking like the way we think about Jesus. Jesus is the way we must think about the vision for African Union, because it is our liberation compass. Museveni keeps saying there is a vision for Uganda. Make a random sample out of 100 people. How many know the Uganda's vision? They don't know. So the question you are asking is, for Africa, all Africans must be able to be on the same page in thinking and behavior and productivity. And that will take a long-term strategy. But we must start on the limping side to make sure that borders must be broken down. Borders, one of ignorance, must be broken down. To tell Uganda that Kenyans are part of you and they are your brothers and sisters. That Muslims and Christians must live together. We don't have time to die to win. There is this book called Dying to Win. It was written by Robert Pepu, a terrorist. His mission is I will win through dying. That is stupidity. It must end in our people. You understand? So we need what we call change culture, change the game. Africa needs that. Written by Professor Sir Robinson. From the context of unity, the whole African and its Africans, you and me, whether you're in which country, we must cross the limits of tribes. Yes, your tribe is good.
Right.
But you need another tribe so that when you produce this product, they are able to buy. And so that mutual benefit will need us to rethink that these religions, any pastor who say, they are cast, that tribe is cast, don't go there tomorrow. Which tribe is cast?
Right.
No. The politics that
Right.
divide the people, even remove those colors. Colors will not transform Uganda. Look for a vision, values that unite us. And in the end,
Yes,
let
please.
this say conclusive statement.
In a second, yes.
Ugandans and Africans, why are we fighting? Why are we fighting? Why are you stealing that money from Murago, from government? I'm talking about you people who are making our lives hard. You will die the way you came. You came with nothing and live the way. So even the Muslims, actually, they remove everything and they make sure you are naked. Repent. From today, repent and be a new creature of God. And start using what God has put in you, because he put it in you to help another person. You were not given that money to build just a house for yourself. You were given that money for neighbors to come and eat with you, and share with you, and sing with you, and dance with you. That car you are driving is not just yours.
Right.
Help somebody. Use your money. Call everybody and sing together. Forgive and use the land to produce food, sell, make money.
Thank you
Spend
so
and
much.
lift the weak. That is the vision for peace, and Africa will be integrated. But we
Thank
need
you so
people
much.
to people interaction
Right.
and social cohesion.
Thank you so much, Mr. Milton Kambura. We've been talking about peace and unity being the bedrock for Africa's transformation. Mr. Milton Kambura is a global peace ambassador, as well as the president of the Ugandan chapter from the Global Peace Foundation. We shall have him back here on the show so that he talks more into it, because this conversation can never be exhausted in just a short while. Thank you so much for being on the show. Up next is JMU Sports with Ruben. Good morning, Uganda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good